nation to full prosperity. We're going to go full prosperity and to build the greatest economy the world has ever seen, just as we had just a short time ago. We will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Great again. Great again.
Hey guys, and welcome to the American Tribune Live. Sorry, I'm checking different cameras here. You will notice that I am staring into my MacBook camera, which has surprisingly good resolution here. Had to make sure the audio was working. The studio is a mess. I can't figure out my attached camera microphone system, but we are winging it today. It's good to be back in the seat, actually. We've been missing a few broadcasts. Summer daycare. Turns out summer daycare programs close a lot. And, when you host podcasts, sometimes you have to choose kids over the podcasting. I might just have to bring him in the studio from now on. We'll get some special guests, and we can pay him a salary and then deduct some of those expenses. So the IRS, heads up, 2 kiddos might be getting paid here because they're going to make some appearances on the podcast if this daycare lady keeps shutting down in the middle of summer here. It's weird how it always works on like these Thursdays that lead up into Friday holidays. If you have young kids, let me know if you've experienced that as well. It always seems like, hey folks, sorry for the last minute check, but I know we had Friday off for a federal holiday and something just happened to my family and we need to take Thursday too. Weird, very weird how that works. But I'm glad you're with me today. I'm glad to be back here. I'm not glad to be talking about this specific topic, but we need to talk about it. The Epstein saga is Donald Trump's greatest unforced heir. That's one conclusion. He's just dropping the ball on this. I don't think Trump is stupid, though. He's calling us stupid. We'll get to clips of that in just a second here. I think it's bigger than that. The reason we've got to talk about Epstein is because we need to put pressure on the Trump administration. We need to wake up normie Dems. If you're listening to this podcast and you know people, suddenly they're going to be talking about this. I got a clip as well. If you can believe it or not, folks, Morning Joe does real journalism for the first time perhaps ever when he's pressing Democrats. Why are you suddenly concerned about the Epstein files when you had 4 years under Joe Biden to release them? And now you're mad at Donald Trump for not releasing them. So politics on display 100%. The gamemanship is happening. If you've got a Democrat family member, friend, neighbor, share the podcast with them. I don't ask for people's money. I'm going to do a promo code for some coffee in a second here. Exciting new sponsorship we might get with some golf gear. So if you're into golf, we got golf gloves, golf hats, golf merch coming up in the next couple episodes here. So stay tuned, tune back in so you can get some great deals on some golf items. But your Democrat family members and friends are suddenly realizing, wait a minute, there's something with the Epstein drama. And you could be thinking to yourself, is Donald Trump playing 4D chess again? We like to give Trump credit for 4D chess. He's downplaying it. He's calling his base stupid for wanting the files released. And suddenly Democrats are ginned up about it. So you could say, is he playing the long game here? He was always going to release them. It's not hurting his poll numbers, by the way. I have an incredible CNN clip here. And I actually petitioned CNN to get me on to explain this because, as always, CNN looks at numbers, they look at polling data, they look at statistics, and they can't figure out, how do I explain this? Well, I will explain this. I explained it in a tweet, and I said, CNN, you have to have me on because these morons are getting paid way more than I get paid, and I can break it down in about 10 seconds. So I got tons of great video clips today, and we're going to roll back the clock. We've got Donald Trump in 2016. We got Donald Trump on the campaign trail. We got Pam Bondi early on in the administration, all saying what we wanted to hear. I've got the Epstein files on my desk. I will declassify and release the Epstein files because the people deserve to know. And now flash forward to where we are today. And you're a moron if you voted for me and thought I was going to release it. Stop talking about it. Epstein's been dead for years. There's nothing to see here. So while we said he could be playing 4D chess or he's committing an unforced error, I think the more likely conclusion that we have to reach here, again, I'm just a simple person here. I'm looking at all the stuff that's going on out there. I think we just have to conclude that Donald Trump is not in charge. We are run by an elite pedo group. I'm on YouTube right now. I'm waiting for the stream to get cut off from saying that. I think that's the only conclusion we can reach. Epstein goes higher than even Donald Trump, the president of the United States. You shouldn't be shocked by this. Congress, I got a clip of that as well for us today. We have so many great video clips. This is not just me talking about it. This is me presenting evidence. And I think arriving at the only possible conclusion here, let me make sure the comments are turned on. If you're watching the show, folks, right now, it is a live broadcast. Drop some comments below as well. We're over on YouTube. We're on Rumble. We're on X right now on my X account. Let me know your thoughts. But I think the only conclusion we can reach based on everything that's happened, the way it's played out, is that there are people more powerful than Donald Trump, the president of the United States. And if you want to come to the conclusion that they are elite pedophiles, I don't think you're far off at this point. And again, I'm going to say that a couple times and see what YouTube lets us get away with here. I see no other way to arrive at that conclusion. Donald Trump promised to release it. He was a little wishy-washy. These interviews are interesting on the campaign trail. Little hesitant to come out and say, yeah, let's do the Epstein files. I'll do 9/11. I'll do JFK. Maybe not the Epstein stuff here. Big talker on the campaign trail. Not a lot of big action, though, now that he's in the White House. And so it seems like if Trump can't do it, if Pam Bondi can't do it, if Cash and Bongino are just neutered at this point because someone slid the files across their desk and said, here's the face and address of everybody you love. If you talk about this, if you don't say he killed himself, and if you don't release the footage of the jail cell, which we are told for years never existed, then all these people are going to be slaughtered. Everybody you hold near and dear will be gone. So I think that explains why we're getting what we're getting. And again, I don't want to talk about Epstein. I just want the files released. It's not that hard. I just want to see who is corrupted, who is controlled, who got into the honeypot, who has dirt on them that they now can't represent the American people. They have to represent the shadow interests behind the scenes that, again, go higher up than the president of the United States. So we got a timeline here. I think we're going to play the tapes according to the timeline that we have here. So you can see how this is played out. This is going on 10 years because our first clip goes back to Donald Trump in 2016 mentioning the Epstein files. So from the very beginning, the MAGA movement, and Matt Walsh has said this, I got a Matt Walsh clip as well, we've always been interested in justice for these corrupt elites. Hillary Clinton, the lock her up chance in 2016, that resonated with us because Donald Trump made it cool, and we've always been saying it, but he normalized and he kind of naturalized the conversation to be like, yeah, the people running the country hate you. They're enriching themselves. They commit awful sins behind the scenes, and they're never held to account. So in 2016, Donald Trump comes on the stage and says, I'm going to lock up Hillary Clinton. We got the Clinton body count conspiracy theory. You can see the Clinton Foundation raking in billions of dollars. All the money that they raised for Haiti after the earthquake disappeared. Haiti is still a shithole country. So Hillary needed to be locked up. And that's what started this. From the beginning, we said Donald Trump seems like one of the good guys. He's the only one talking about going after the elites. Romney never talked about it. McCain never talked about it. The rhinos in D.C. didn't care that there was corruption because they were just as bad as Dems were. Donald Trump was different. So in 2016, lock her up, gets it rolling. Then we get more information about the Epstein deal. Epstein kills himself. It becomes a national name. We all know about the scandals. You got the victims that have come out and spoken out. You got the people like Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton. We got the flight logs. You got your Gates down there. You got all the rich and powerful people in the world visiting Jeffrey Epstein's little tiny island down there, flying on his airplane. And you start to connect the dots and you say, gosh, it seems like this really big club that you're not a part of is all doing the same thing, interacting with the same people. And you hear about the victims, you hear about the abuse. So we go from lock up just Hillary Clinton to release the files and then hopefully lock up everybody that committed these atrocious acts. And so, yes, from the beginning, that's what our support for Donald Trump has been, not just centered around. We have been centered on a lot of things, fixing all the problems in the country. But you can't remove our support of Donald Trump with locking her up, with releasing the files. It is part and parcel of our support for Donald Trump. And I do have to say this, and then we'll get into the timeline here. I support Donald Trump. I would vote for him again in a heartbeat if I could go back in time in November. You had to vote for Donald Trump. Our focus on the Epstein files is not to say I am disappointed, I regret my vote. Hardly. Do you think Kamala Harris would have released the Epstein files? Gosh, I wish I would have voted differently because Kamala Harris and Democrats would have released that information that they're all a part of. Remember when Democrats were mad that Doge was discovering the corruption in D.C. and they were mad about that? Yeah, I'm sure that party would have released the Epstein files. Joe Biden had 4 years to release the Epstein files. So no, this is not like, oh, Trump disappointed me, I'm over it, I regret my vote. Not at all. Kamala Harris would not have released the Epstein files, so we're in the exact same place. Moreover, Kamala Harris wouldn't have secured the border, wouldn't have given ICE funding to deport illegals. We have, I think Stephen Miller said, 1 million self-deportations alone already in the first 6 months of Trump's administration. That's a big win. You got tariffs coming down the pike. Inflation is coming down. Once Jerome Powell is kicked out of the Fed, inflation will go down lower. Interest rates will go down lower. You have a booming economy. You've got America respected on the world stage. We are bringing peace around the world. And we could talk about Ukraine a little bit here. You're not hearing much about that anymore, at least. You're not waving the stupid flags. Trump's victory secured a victory in the culture wars. We are now totally okay to say DEI is awful, wokeness is awful, this anti-white, anti-American, anti-capitalist, anti-Western civilization philosophy sucks. So Pride Month, you notice Pride Month was very subdued. Donald Trump has brought victories all over the place. We're going to end birthright citizenship. This is not an episode on the Trump victories. I have done that before. Go back into the library of our podcast here. So no, Donald Trump had to win. Donald Trump has my vote, has my support, but we do need to put pressure on the administration and say, look, buddy, you've been talking about this for 10 years. This is why we voted for you and supported you, because you were calling out all the corrupt establishment hacks in Washington, D.C. ever since you hit the campaign trail as far back as 2012, but then certainly in 2015, 2016. So we deserve answers. The American people deserve answers. So I support Trump, and I also want the Epstein files released. This is not complicated. Maybe I should just start with my tweet here. Actually, let's just start with the poll number. I promise a chronological playback, but I'm going to start with the CNN clip here, because CNN is just astounded that Donald Trump's support is gone up, even though he has dropped the ball on this Epstein stuff here, and actually just called out his own base. Donald Trump has called us stupid. I got a clip of that as well. Why are you focusing on the Epstein files? Maybe I don't want your support anymore if you're going to keep ragging me on that. Well, Donald Trump, you have my support even if you don't want it, because I want the Epstein files released. I'm going to start with this. This one's too good. Here is CNN getting just dumbfounded. They are perplexed. How anyone can support Donald Trump after this?
Look, I think this one surprised me a bit because of all these complaints online going after Trump and the Epstein files. You might think his approval ratings were going down with Republicans. If anything, they're going up. Republicans who approve of Trump, look at our CNN poll. The prior one, 86%. The one out this week, 88% were Republicans. How about Quinnipiac? The prior poll, 87% approve of Republicans. This week out, 90% with Republicans. If anything, Donald Trump's approval rating has gone up since this whole Epstein saga started. He is at the apex, or close there too, in terms of his popularity with Republican voters, Epstein files, complaints, or not.
You just proved that not everything online is real.
Yes,
in real life.
Who knew?
Amazing.
Twitter and X are not reality.
Fact check false. Everything on X is reality. If you're not on X, folks, you're not getting real news. That is the place to go. I imagine CNN of all places saying like, oh, online's not real news. Folks, you're CNN. You lie every single day. Let me break this clip down, though. I actually responded to them. This is my appeal to get on CNN and talk about it. This is what I wrote. I kind of addressed this already. So here's my comment to this just insane video. They're like, Trump support has gone up. And their conclusion is like, well, you can't trust everything you see on the internet. No. We are mad about Epstein. Make no mistake. Here's my response. That's because we aren't full on retarded from brainwashing. Are we disappointed? Hell yeah, we are. Do we recognize Trump's presidency as a net positive? Absolutely. It's not like Kamala would have released them or secured the border. This isn't hard. Maybe CNN should have me on instead of these morons to explain how reality works. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can look at Trump's handling of Epstein and be like, this is a major disappointment, and also be a grown-up with critical thinking skills and say, everything else Trump is doing had to happen, is happening, and we have great momentum in this country. Border, immigration, crime, tariffs, peace overseas, you name it. The list goes on and on. We are banning men from women's locker rooms. If you're a parent, that's a big deal. I have 2 young girls. Hell yeah, I want that. So yeah, am I disappointed in Epstein? You bet I am. Can we still get them released in the next 3.5 years? I like to think so. It's not a done deal yet. And if we put enough pressure, like this little podcast and all the other influencers out there, if we say, Donald Trump, you lied to us, you're failing us right now, we deserve to know the answers, maybe something can change. Now, of course, it's obvious now that Congress didn't want to reveal it. Trump's not excited about revealing it. I think they know what that means. I think we all know what that means. It means everybody's compromised and on the list, and there are people running governments. They are running operations higher up than even POTUS is. But CNN, these numbers are not hard to figure out. Now, in our day-to-day life, getting run by a group of elite shadow pedophiles, is that a problem? Probably, and we need to address it. But in my day-to-day life, pedos are not running the government. I'm affected directly and most critically by illegals in my community, drugs in my community, crime in my community, woke indoctrination in the school system. I'm affected by some of these things that Trump has actually handled, and I 100% support him for that. Kamala Harris would have let in more illegals, would have invited more drugs, would have brainwashed more kids, would have penalized you for speech on the internet, which according to CNN, you can't trust everything you see on the internet. Like, we would have lived that reality where you're only allowed to say one thing on the internet under Kamala Harris. So no, Donald Trump had to win. Donald Trump is fulfilling many campaign promises. This one instance doesn't mean he deserves to lose all of our support. I can be mad at him, disappointed at him. I can call out his failures and his lies. I have no problem doing that. But it's also easy for me to say, like, what were the alternatives? In a two-party system, which is also the best system, by the way, you don't want to get into these third parties, these coalitions. You never get represented. It had to be this way. So I can be an adult and say I don't like it, and also say that this had to happen. And it doesn't mean, again, that the door is shut on this forever. So there we are, CNN. I just explained these numbers to you. Again, it's not rocket science. My entire audience can understand this as well. Invite me on CNN. I don't even know who these two people are anymore. I could do a better job explaining that. But again, they don't want to explain it. That's the other part of this. Don't trust everything on the internet. Let me trust CNN's astute analysis. They can't come out and say what I just said. I think they're too stupid to probably come to that conclusion anyways, because they don't view the world through reality and common sense. They view it through power, a prism of power, thanks to their communist indoctrination. But they don't want to come out and say, gosh, maybe his poll numbers are high because he's doing everything else correct right now. And that's the point. But let's go back in time, folks. I got a clip from I think this is 2016. This is right before the election. He's asked about Bill Clinton because this was, again, the lock her up time frame. And then he references Epstein. So just remember, now that Donald Trump has said it's a hoax, nothing to see here. He's been dead for years. There's no list. He wasn't saying that in 2016. Take a listen.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
A lot of problems with the island and Epstein. I am led to conclude that there is something there. Is Bill Clinton on the list that doesn't exist anymore? It would seem that way. And then let's just fast forward to the campaign. People are coming out and saying Trump never promised to release the files on the campaign trail, that we're making up some lie. I will let you folks decide. I've got two clips. One is Lex Friedman, who I don't bother to listen to. He's one of those, I won't even get into that. It doesn't matter. And then I got the other one. I don't even know who this gal is. But let's listen to Donald Trump discuss and answer prompts about Epstein.
But a lot of big people went to that island. But fortunately, I was not one of them.
Okay. So a lot of people went to the island. Sounds like that would be names on a list, if you will.
It's just very strange for a lot of people that the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it?
Okay, I got to point this out too. Let me go back to Trump's response here. This is what you're going to notice if you're watching and listening carefully. Donald Trump is always boisterous. He's always bombastic. He always speaks in, it's basically binary incertitude. It's either like, this is 100% we have to do, MS-13, they are subhuman animals, or it's just like, no, this is a terrible idea. When Trump is talking about Epstein, he's always couching his language. He's always a little bit more nuanced. It is almost as if Donald Trump knows the truth, and I believe he does. He's running in the same circles as all these other clowns. He knows the truth. He knows it plays well to us because we are interested in the truth. But his language and his body language, it's always just a little bit different talking about Epstein. So listen to him again here. I'm just rewinding a little bit and then we'll keep moving forward.
It's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, very interesting. Gosh, why is it interesting, Donald Trump?
Probably will be, by the way. Probably.
So if you're able to, you'll be...
Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it. Now, Kennedy's interesting because it's so many years ago. You know, they do that for danger, too, because, you know, endangers certain people, et cetera, et cetera. So Kennedy is very different from the Epstein thing. But yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
I'd be inclined to do Epstein. I would have no problem. Now, this is not coming out and saying I will release it. But again, it goes back to the point that Donald Trump is much more demure when he talks about the Epstein file. And again, he wants to talk about Kennedy is different. Notice he goes to Kennedy right away, the JFK files that they released, and we didn't learn anything new. So like, did we really get the story? That was a long time ago. So you have this danger idea. Let me ask this. Who is in danger if you release the Epstein files? Is it the victims that have already been victimized? Seems to me if I were a victim of Epstein abuse or elite pedophile abuse, I would want to get out there and you could get a massive payday, I would think, and then have these criminals brought to justice. Normally, if you're a victim of a crime, you like to see criminals brought to justice that offers a little bit of closure for you. Who is in danger? That's the question worth asking. Who is in danger? Is it people like Trump? Is it people like the Clintons? Is it people like everybody in Congress, basically, in Washington, D.C.? I'm not in danger if you release the Epstein files. I really don't see a world where the victims are in danger if these names come out. It's not like they would have violated an NDA. So the only people in danger are the people committing the crimes. This is insane. But again, this isn't the only time Trump talked about that. Here's a second interview where he kind of talks about the same thing. Again, listen to his language, watch his body language.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would
I
you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least...
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others. Certainly about the way he died.
Why? Again, this is very interesting. Trump, are you going to do JFK? Absolutely. And I already did JFK. And again, it's that certitude. And Epstein, he's like, yeah, I guess I will. I mean, there's not a lot in there and it's phony. I know the government lies to us. I know the FBI makes up charges to lock up peaceful protesters on January 6th. What in the Epstein files is phony and hasn't been vetted, though? Like, if it's in the files, the FBI saw video evidence. They had written evidence. They have testimony. They have flight logs. They've got so much more information out there. What exactly is the phony part? So again, Donald Trump's language, he is not telling us everything in these interviews. I guess I'll release it because I guess people are kind of interested in what elites in the world are compromised by illicit sexual behavior and trafficking of girls. I don't know. I'm at a loss, Donald Trump. Why would I be interested in knowing who runs the world through sexual blackmail?
It would be interesting to find out what happened there because that was a weird situation and the cameras didn't happen to be working, etc.
Oh, the cameras didn't seem to be working. Folks, I'm going to have to pull up that video clip. Listen to that one more time.
It was a weird situation and the cameras didn't happen to be working, etc.
The cameras didn't happen to be working. Let me see here. I wonder if we have camera footage for that. I'm seeing if I can find it in real time here for you. They released 10 hours of footage. All right, I can't find it right now. We're a live show. Just understand they released footage. People are saying it was edited. Of course it was edited. I'm just trying to scroll here to see if we got it. All right, so I'm on one clip here. Let me share the screen for this one, actually. You're in a live show. This was unplanned here. This is what we got to do sometimes. So Donald Trump just said we didn't have the footage. I am showing you footage released by the Department of Justice. Again, this was 10 hours. There's a lot of speculation online that it was edited because it probably was, because someone likely went to his jail cell and murdered him. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. But Donald Trump, who would know? And again, this was the talking point. We don't have any footage. The cameras were down. The guards were asleep. He was on suicide watch and allowed to hang himself with a noose, allegedly. And his previous roommate tried to beat him up. But there's no footage of that. I'm sorry. We don't have any footage. The cameras weren't working. And then they just one day were like, look, we're going to release the footage. No one goes in his cell. He obviously killed himself. Bongino and Patel are out there. He killed himself. Doesn't this alone just conclude that they lied to you? Donald Trump said it. The deep state said it. Everybody said it. There's no footage. The cameras weren't working. And then they released the cameras that are supposedly Epstein's cell. And then if you read some of the comments here, this is an enhanced version. The entire video lasts 11 hours. 11 hours. It's posted in two versions, one raw and untouched, and one with lighting and contrast enhanced for clarity. I'm not going to scroll through all this here. I think that'd be its own episode talking about how just this video is a scam. Just understand, they said there was no video. Trump said it too.
Etc.
And then they released the video. So that happened.
But yeah, I'd go a long way toward that one. The other stuff I would definitely do the January 6th because,
Yeah. Yes,
beyond
so
all of them,
important.
because what happened, how about the Unselect Committee? They had meetings, they had all Democrats and
Again, he doesn't want to talk about it. This is just raising red flags. Epstein, yeah, there's not a lot there. It's dangerous if we release information. There's not really much there. He died a couple years ago, but yeah, JFK and J6, I'll definitely do that. Super shady. Folks, it's super shady out there. Epstein didn't kill himself. The footage they lied to you about. Donald Trump said he would release the files, and now we're getting stonewalling. Who can forget this clip? Here, this is Pam Bondi in February. Just understand now that the files don't exist. They've never existed, except when they did, and they were on her desk in February.
Be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
I'm sure if you read the Epstein files, you'd be like, nah, this is pretty vanilla. There's not a lot in here. Just, big names that run the world and we're trafficking in younger, underage girls. Nothing, I was just kind of like, nah, there's nothing shocking about this yet. Hey, turns out, guy, that we found the video footage from his cell, even though that was never working for the last 5 years. So that's something, we found the working cameras. We found video footage, all 11 hours of it that never existed. Have we ever interviewed the guards, by the way? Have the guards been named publicly? Tell me, what were you doing? Did you really fall asleep? Or did you just walk away for half an hour so that we could remove Epstein from the cell or murder him or change bodies? Like, sky's the limit on that one. Yeah, I haven't seen anything. I mean, there were these video footages of massages and sex acts, but I don't know. I'm in these circles, so that's kind of just an everyday thing for me, these orgies. Wild stuff. It's on my desk. I'm going to release a binder to all these Trump influencers, and then I'm just not going to do anything with it. And so Fox News was interested. They were like, have you seen anything interesting in these files? We were interested. We were led to believe that these files would be released along with JFK, MLK, others. But gosh, now that we're talking about it and it hasn't come out, Donald Trump thinks you're a moron. Listen to this.
Yeah, sure.
Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems...
Guys, have you ever confronted a spouse or a friend or a colleague and you say, hey, I have a little bit of information that doesn't seem all on the up and up with me. I'd like to flesh this out with you, if you will. And instead of them responding saying, I'm glad you brought this to my attention, let's talk about this, they immediately explode on you and they try to make you the bad guy for asking questions or noticing something that doesn't seem normal. This is a classic tactic of covering up a lie. I don't know what else to say about that. Donald Trump, he's on there. He's like, yeah, I would release them. Got to be careful, but we'll release them. Hey, Pam, apparently I directed you to release the Epstein files at the direction of the president. They were sitting on your desk ready for review and release. And then you get this response. You're still talking about it? What is wrong with you? I mean, no. Yeah, I am still talking about it, Donald Trump. Not only did we get lied to about it, but we need to know, even if you didn't promise to release the files, I would still demand that you release the files because we need to know what is in there. This is perhaps one of the keys to figuring out who runs the world, who is controlled. Why is it Republicans every single time vote against their interests? Hey, we voted to secure the border, no longer allow immigration. We want these people not to be able to get citizenship. And now Republicans are voting for bills that are going to offer amnesty, and we're going to keep the H-1B visa program going. Seems like that's not what we wanted. And that's not what we want. Are you possibly controlled? You will support this establishment bill or else. And honestly, if they released a name, the problem is with this blackmail tactic. let's say you got this Salazar clown out of Florida, some Cuban immigrant. This is why all immigrants should not be allowed to hold office or vote. Salazar, Republican in name only, sponsoring this amnesty bill in 2025, where MAGA decidedly said, no, we don't want these illegals to become citizens. If we wanted illegals to be citizens, we would have voted for Kamala Harris. If they came out and said, all right, Salazar, well, you are on the Epstein list. You're on some covert list, and we have blackmail on you. Can they act on that, though? They're like, all right, Salazar, I guess either your family member gets murdered or we're going to show the sex tape of you in a compromised position. And it's like, oh, there it is. There's proof that you guys have sexual blackmail on them. Like, I don't know if they can even do that. So that would be interesting if one of these clowns actually like called the bluff. All right, well, release the sex tape because then you have to admit that you have sex tapes on all of us. Like, that would be an interesting play, actually. But Donald Trump is mad. And obviously his anger means that he's hiding something. He's hiding something. Let's continue forward, though, because he's not done. He's not done ragging. That was more general. You're still talking about that. You, individual reporter, for asking the question. You're a moron. Can't you see that we had Texas floods? Oh, my goodness. The Texas floods are so much more important. And then he decides to take it to DEFCON 5 and say, you are all stupid. Everyone in my base. We're still talking about this.
Semiconductors and chips.
Mr. President, I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time.
So Trump has said this now, but do you notice the contradiction as well? Number one, I don't know why my supporters are interested in the Epstein files. No, you like, come on, you know why we're interested, Donald Trump. Get out of here with that. But then he says he's been dead for a long time. But isn't that interesting? Because when we played the Lex Friedman interview, he said, I have no problem releasing the JFK files because those people are dead. It was a long time ago. That was his justification for releasing the JFK files. It was a long time ago. And now Donald Trump right here says, why are we interested? That was a long time ago. He's been dead for a couple of years. Which one is it, Donald Trump? Do we release information when it was a long time ago and people have been dead for a long time, or do we not? So do you understand, Trump administration, why we are so disappointed and frustrated and pissed off right now? You're out there pretending it's not a big deal. And with your own justification, I played the clip for you. JFK we can do. It was a long time ago. No big deal here. People aren't affected. Now Donald Trump's like, why are they interested? That was a long time ago. Hello? Yeah, we're interested because the people that controlled Epstein, his handlers, the people apparently higher up than you as president of the United States, still exist. The Epstein himself, this created, manufactured person, entity, he might be dead, but the operation is not dead. Do you understand? Donald Trump understands that. Trump perfectly understands that, but he's pretending now that we are stupid. He's calling us stupid because apparently we don't see the big picture. No, I see the big picture. I see that whoever was controlling Epstein and whoever Epstein was passing information to, an entire organization, entity, structure, that still exists.
He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is.
All right, since he's asking rhetorically, and he obviously understands, Donald Trump, we are interested in knowing what politicians, elites, businessmen, whatever it may be, we're interested in how they are compromised, what crimes they have committed. We are interested in understanding how this system is operating. To what extent is there blackmail? Is there illegal sexual activity? Victimization of young women? Yeah, we are actually quite interested in this story for a variety of reasons. If you can't release the list, then we are especially interested because we want to know who actually makes decisions and runs the world. If it's higher than POTUS, we want to know. Seems pretty relevant to our day-to-day lives here.
I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring.
So, again, it is one or the other. If it is boring and uninteresting and there's nothing there, then why aren't they releasing the files? If there is nothing there and I'm bored out of my mind and Pam Bondi read it and she's like, I didn't find anything of interest yet, then why the hesitation to release it? If it is so boring, then it is obviously not compromising to anybody. there's no security risk, there's no danger threat, if it's just boring, they change the narrative every single day. It is not getting released because it is anything but boring. I imagine I don't even want to see the video files because you cannot unsee things in this life. I don't want to see girls getting abused and victimized. I certainly don't want to see Donald Trump, this old man, or other old men like him, naked. I don't want to see the videos, but I want to see the files that describe the crimes committed by these elite pedophiles. That is it. If it is just boring, all the more reason to release it. What is happening here? They think you're stupid. We have always said the media thinks that you're stupid, and the media is right. I got to say this to you. Like, most often they're right. People are stupid. Hey, we got Kagan Girl in the chat. Kagan Girl, I am fired up here about the Epstein files today. If you missed the beginning here, we're doing a timeline march, chronological. We're going through all the Epstein stuff, making some pretty basic cases here. Thanks for joining the show. Thanks for joining the chat. Making some pretty basic cases. It's one or the other. If it's a long time ago, then you can release it like you did JFK. That was your justification. If it's boring, you can release it because there's nothing incriminating in there. They change their excuse every single time they're talking about this. This is wild. Donald Trump has to release the files. And yes, we are interested because I am certain, I would wager my house that there are compromised names, there are pedophiles running our government, and I deserve to know it. If that weren't the case, if there were nothing in there, then they would release it. And if he's been dead a long time, then do it like JFK. Well, people are dead. That was a long time ago. Can't really hurt anybody now. They make up an excuse every single time they're talking about this.
And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think, well, really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information.
Also, who is this clown laughing? Oh, yeah, bad people want to keep it going. No. I want to keep it going. I want to see the list that you said existed that was on Pam Bondi's desk. Now I have video footage of his cell that you said didn't exist last year. Nothing is adding up. I am now curious to see, what have you lied about? What are you covering up? Whose names are on there? What was happening on the island? Gosh, I don't know why anyone would be interested. Folks, are you not outraged by this as much as I am? And again, Kagan Girl, I'm just going to say this to you because you hopped in the chat. I think you might just be joining us here. I still support Donald Trump. I do need to make this clear. We've been doing a half an hour ragging on Donald Trump with the Epstein, as he deserves. We need to drag Donald Trump through the mud on this one, demand accountability, demand the release of the files. This doesn't mean I'm over Donald Trump. I voted for Donald Trump. I have voted for him 3 times. I'll vote for him a 4th time if they amend the Constitution. I would gladly vote for Donald Trump again. His presidency has been nothing but incredible, considering what we just endured for 4 years under Joe Biden. Donald Trump had to win the election. He had to win it. Kamala Harris would have made things even worse, if you can imagine that. Wide open border, more illegals invited into the country. Our economy would have been in shambles because they wouldn't have done tariffs. Tariffs are scary, even though every other country has them and they're just fine. We would have escalated the situation in Ukraine. I imagine the pro-Hamas wing of the Democrat Party would have supported Gaza and escalated Israel over there. Notice no one talks about Iran anymore. That was a 3-day thing and done. I predicted that, by the way. Bomb Iran one time, in and out, precision strike. Donald Trump has done so many good things for this country. That had to happen. Donald Trump had to win. He's been a fantastic president. This can be focused on. This can be talked about. And it doesn't mean I'm over my support of Donald Trump. And again, if I'm just looking at 2 options, Trump or Harris, are you kidding me? It's the easiest decision ever. So no, I am not over Donald Trump. I support Donald Trump, but we do need to focus our attention on. They say, why are they interested in this? I'll tell you why we're interested in this, because this is the one thing you're blocking us from right now. And you promised us on the campaign trail. But even like I said, if you didn't talk about this on the campaign trail, we still want to know, because we want to know what elected officials, what powerful people in the government and around the world, how they are influenced, what decisions they're making based on the sexual blackmail they have, compromising situations they've been in. We want to know that. This is not hard to figure out. Why would anyone be interested? You're talking about people that watch reality TV every day, and now you have a real life pedophile scandal, which transcends any reality TV program you could ever come up with. So yeah, maybe that's why we're interested. Okay, but we got to get to this clip as well. I think we're done with this one. Nothing fancy about this video here, but just to show you how deep this goes, here's Congress voting against the release of the files. Donald Trump won't release it, and Congress won't hold him accountable to release it either.
On this vote, the yeas are 211, the nays are 210. The previous question is ordered. The question is on adoption of the resolution. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
All right, so there you go. You can see the votes there. It was 211 to 210. 9 Republicans did not vote. 2 Democrats did not vote. It's always... folks, let me know your thoughts on this one. If you're elected to serve in Congress, your number one job is to vote. I don't know what else your job is other than to vote and represent your constituency. So you're telling me those 11 votes, what are there, 400,000 people in every district? My math could be wrong on that. I could be making this up. However many hundreds of thousands of people are in a district. Multiply that by 11. That's how many Americans didn't get represented in this vote, by the way. You should be expelled from Congress if you miss a vote. And also, why are we demanding that they vote in person when we have the internet? You can just cast a vote from your cell phone. I'm sure they can make secure apps. Wherever you are in the world, take a second to be like, oh, we have a vote coming up. Let me vote. You can even be that deluded, what's her name? Brittany Peterson, I think, out of Colorado. The one that uses her baby as a prop, even though Congress has daycare. You can be I mean, she probably bottle feeds. What am I saying here? This woman doesn't breastfeed her kid. That would be too much work for her. You can be bottle feeding your kid, Brittany Peterson, and still pull up your phone, because I know she's scrolling on social media, because that's what moms do now. They can't just like spend time with their kid. They have to be on their phone instead of bonding during breastfeeding, the most important part of a child's development. She could vote on her phone. Oh my gosh. We have Jason Robertson in the chat. Taught at a Split Rock Coffee roast this morning. He is fired up. Jason, I am fired up here. I am mad at Donald Trump. I am mad at Congress. I'm mad about all this stuff. They keep making up excuses. And I am drinking Split Rock Coffee, folks. If you want to get fired up like me and you want to have that caffeine in your belly, go to splitrockcoffee.com. That is splitrockcoffee.com. Use promo code Todd10, by the way. And I always say this. My parents are very proud of me. I am a promo code. They always wondered, what is Todd going to do with his life? And I said, don't worry, Mom and Dad. I made it. I have a promo code. So use promo code Todd10 at splitrockcoffee.com. I am always drinking, well, Jason said the light roast here. Yeah, the breakfast blend. Did you know, folks, that the lighter the roast, the more caffeine? I didn't know that until I started drinking Split Rock Coffee, because the darker the roast, they're kind of burning out the caffeine. So I am on the breakfast blend. That's the only thing I drink here, but splitrockcoffee.com, promo code Todd10. And if you subscribe for monthly deliveries, you can set up your deliveries. You can get even more savings. Splitrockcoffee.com. It's owned by Paul. He joins us on the podcast on Friday with my business partner, Jason Robertson, Freedom from the Press podcast. He is a disabled veteran. It is a disabled veteran-owned coffee company right here in Minnesota, where I am. Jason's in Minnesota as well. We live under Tim Walz's insane woke tyranny here. I don't know what's wrong with Minnesota, but they always vote Democrat. And Kagan Girl agrees. I am fired up today. If you caught the beginning of the show, I was pretty level-headed here. But now that we're 45 minutes in, it's just kind of like a ball rolling down the hill. You're like, well, we got this clip. We got that clip. We got these facts. We got this going on here. None of this adds up. And of course, I'm fired up now. But I appreciate Kagan Girl here. And I appreciate Jason tuning into the show today. Jason, welcome aboard. Thanks for commenting. I don't think I have to tell Jason twice to like the show and share this with his family members or friends as well. All right. And with that, folks, I got one more clip. I think hell has frozen over. I think the polls might be shifting. Morning Joe Scarborough is doing real journalism. I know you're shocked. I hope you were sitting down when I said that. You might have tumbled over here. But Morning Joe might have asked the single best question we have heard related to Epstein, asking a Democrat, posing this question to Jamie Raskin, one of the worst human beings. I just assume he belongs in prison as well. I assume he's on the Epstein list as well. But Morning Joe asked him very plainly, gosh, Democrats, it seems like until 5 seconds ago, you really weren't interested in Epstein. I mean, you had Joe Biden, you had the auto pen. Anyone in the Biden administration, it turns out, could have released the Epstein files. They all could have used the auto pen. Any person in Washington, D.C. knew about the auto pen. They could have taken it for a second and they said, I just drafted an executive order that is going to release the Epstein files. They had 4 years to do it. Nobody talked about it. I don't remember a Democrat talking about the Epstein files. And now the narrative, of course, and again, if you're on the 4D chess train, Donald Trump is downplaying it here. He's calling his base stupid for a second. He knows he's not going to lose support because now he wants Democrats to get agitated about the Epstein list. And now they're going to demand its release, which is not going to happen. But Morning Joe with real journalism, folks, you got to sit down for this one. Take a watch.
And that from 21 to 25, when Democrats controlled the DOJ, why? It was a crisis then. It's a crisis now. Why didn't Democrats call for it from 21 to 25?
I'm going to play that clip again. It might be one of the best questions you could ask, especially as you are talking to a Democrat. 21 to 25, that was Joe Biden's administration. Democrats controlled the House and the Senate for the first 2 years. I mean, I don't have to point this out. Obviously, this is just the political gamesmanship here. This is Democrats making up a new narrative. The same people that were mad about Doge uncovering corruption, no, they did not want to release the Epstein list because that would be uncovering corruption. But Morning Joe, you guys were in power for 4 years. How come you weren't talking about it? And we all know the answer. This is a rhetorical question, but Jamie Raskin on the spot has to answer it. I'm going to play that question one more time because it's so good.
Why didn't Democrats call for it from 21 to 25?
So, I mean, you'd have to go back and look specifically at particular.
Well, you have to look back specifically, particular. The wheels are turning here. He's like, how do I answer this question? He's already lying. He's already lying here, but there we go. So he's specifically, particular, this and that.
Prosecutorial decisions and what was taking place in terms of the other cases. So I don't know.
Yeah, what was taking place? What would be more important than releasing the Epstein files? Now, I don't know about you folks. This raises some questions as well. He's answering the question saying, like, we could have. His response continues. I'll play it as well. I'm acknowledging that something is there. Jamie Raskin could have just said, they're not there. There are no files. Morning Joe, didn't you know that Pam Bondi didn't have any files on her desk? And she said there are no files now and that everything's been deleted. Jeffrey Epstein, it's a hoax. Morning Joe, didn't you catch that? Todd played it on Freedom from American Tribune Live. Todd played the clip. Trump said there's nothing there. It's a hoax. Why are you guys still talking about it? But he didn't say that. He didn't say it doesn't exist. I'm just going to quote Donald Trump back to you, Morning Joe. Donald Trump said it's a hoax. Why are we interested in this? Jamie takes a different approach. So he's acknowledging that there is something there. Do we understand that? Jamie Raskin's response is saying that there is something there.
We could try to reconstruct that record. But the point is that Donald Trump is the one who has led the crusade to say that that Epstein, who was his very close friend, and there's all kinds of pictures of them.
I gotta say this. This is what always comes up when you are talking to a brainwash, boosted, low IQ sheep. Well, Donald Trump might be on the list. I don't care. Let Donald Trump be on the list. I honestly don't care. When I say release the list, when I say release the files, I mean it. I want all of it released and let the chips fall where they may. If Donald Trump's name is on the list, and I don't know, folks, he is in the same circles. He was wealthy. They were both neighbors in Florida. He knew him. And again, Raskin's correct. They have pictures of them hanging out together. I don't know. But if Donald Trump's on the list, A, I wouldn't be shocked. And B, then I deserve to know that. We want to know that. I don't want any elite pedophile anywhere near the White House. I want them all in Guantanamo Bay or a remote Pacific island where we round up all the pedos on the list and we say, here's this uninhabited chunk of land in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. You guys can all pedo it up over there, except there wouldn't be kids on the island. And good luck. Make your own pedo civilization minus the kids. I honestly don't care. All the more reason to release it, though. They think that's like a gotcha point. Are you sure you want to release the files? Trump the Messiah might be on there. And I'm thinking, fine. Well, then release it. Let me figure this out for myself. This is not a rebuttal. This is not the own they think it is. Is Trump on the list? I don't know. Release the files and let's find out. Absolutely insane. But he's like, we had so much going on. Remember the context of the time here. Jamie Raskin, though, acknowledging that the list is real. His response also acknowledges that the list is real. This is wild. Yeah, Kagan girl's over there saying, I'm ready for arrest anyone at this point. Yes, including Donald Trump. If Donald Trump engaged in these sexual behaviors with underage minors, then yeah, he deserves to be arrested. What do you want me to say? This is not complicated. I'm not a brainwashed Dem that is like my side or nothing. I am an American that is tired of the elite pedos running the show. I've said that 6 times. YouTube stream is still live, by the way. I think YouTube's like, we can't really fact check him for that. It's true. Yeah, arrest anybody on the list. This is not complicated. I am not in a cult. I have not been brainwashed. I want to see the list, and I want to see what names are on the list. And whoever's name is on that, we're going to figure it out when it gets there. And I mentioned auto pen, so King Girl says, all auto pen pardons are not legal. For the life of me, Kagan Girl, I think I tweeted about this as well. It'll always be a tweet, even though it's an X, because you can't really verb an X. Yeah, how has this not been decided yet? They know that the auto pen is there because they can look at the different signatures of Joe Biden. They've basically admitted there was an auto pen at this point. How are they legal? How is this not just getting tossed out in courts? Let's see. DEI, Supreme Court, off the court. Ketanji Brown Jackson was a DEI hire with an auto pen. All of the midnight pardons with an auto pen. These are not legitimate. If I tried to enter an agreement with a mortgage or a bank or even my wedding, like whatever the case may be, any legal situation, number one, they wouldn't let you enter into an illegal binding agreement. If you were demented and senile, they'd be like, this doesn't hold up because you didn't have the cognizance or the wherewithal to realize what you were committing to. So there's that. And then if I had just had someone else sign it for me and I didn't know they were signing it under my name, that wouldn't be legal either. It'd be nullified. How are these pardons not getting nullified yet? Yeah, but Donald Trump and Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is doing such a great job, folks. She sent out a tweet. I wonder if I can find this. I don't know if I can find it. I'm going to read it off to you. But someone, I think it might have been Bondi herself or the Department of Justice, she's like, look at all these wins. And if you read it all, it's like, Pam Bondi sued. Pam Bondi investigated. Pam Bondi did this. And it's just like, those aren't actual actions, Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi wins would be Pam Bondi released the Epstein files. Pam Bondi put these criminals in prison. Pam Bondi did this and that. No, you filing lawsuits, you launching an investigation. I don't want lawsuits and investigations. I want conclusions. No, these are not the wins you think they are, Pam Bondi. Yeah, Kagan Girl says, I know Trump keeps talking about it, hoping he's going to get the DOJ on it. I can only hope. If Pam Bondi is going to lie to us about the Epstein files, at the very least, she can just say, I have nullified every auto pen pardon. And then we can put Fauci and Schiff and Hunter's. It's interesting. Hunter had like the real signature. So I don't even care about Hunter Biden at this point. Yes, I understand he sold all of his artwork. It was a massive money laundering operation. It was a massive, just like the Clinton Foundation that magically disappeared when she was no longer Secretary of State. I understand that people bought Hunter's artwork, his poop artwork, so they could have access to Joe Biden. That's how this works. I don't even care anymore about that. Hunter's a small fish. Go after the real politicians. It's all insane, folks. That's my conclusion after 52 minutes. It's all insane. But we need the Epstein files. And I'm going to conclude this the way I started the show here. I voted for Donald Trump. I have voted for him 3 times. I will vote for him again, or whoever the America First candidate is for president. Donald Trump has accomplished so many great things for this country. You will never get your entire wish list fulfilled. If you're an adult, you realize that. But we can get most of it. And I think Trump's delivering on most of that. We are only 6 months in. There's a lot left to do for Donald Trump. I think he's got the political capital and will to do it. But when it comes to this Epstein stuff, yeah, he doesn't get a pass. Just because I voted for Donald Trump doesn't mean I support everything he does. Doesn't mean I just have to accept it. I can demand something better from him. We've seen how social media can influence politicians as well. Mike Lee was trying to sell off federal land for low-income housing, and we're all like, no, you actually don't want to do that to a national park. I don't want Section 8 housing next to this beautiful mountainside. And he backed off. He backed off of it because of the pressure on social media. So Donald Trump can change his mind. If we just keep talking about this, if everybody just says, no, Donald Trump, you don't get a pass, I think we can actually get it. Kagan Girl says too, I'll vote for him again if possible. I'm over democracy, so I'm fine with Donald Trump, the king at this point. I don't like the idea of everybody voting. I don't like, how is democracy working out when all of our congressional members vote to deny the release of the Epstein files in general? Democracy, mass democracy especially, is a failed experiment. So I'm fine with that. Make Donald Trump king at this point. It's not going to get worse. I mean, what do you want? Kamala Harris every 4 years? No, I don't want that either. So yes, I would vote for Trump again. I'll vote for JD Vance again. Do they have their flaws? Yes. Are they letting us down? Yes. Doesn't mean that it is all game over. Because what are you going to do? Go vote Democrat? Are you insane? So no, we don't want that either. So Donald Trump doesn't get a pass for the Epstein file debacle. He is lying to us. He is making up excuses at this point. I played all the clips. Folks, if you want to go back to the entire show, I played all the clips. He had one justification here, another justification there, contradictory justification there. Donald Trump knows better. He's lying. He knows what's in the files. The files exist, and we, the American people, deserve to see them. But with that being said, I am fired up here. I've had my Split Rock coffee. We've been going on an hour. I was going to do like a 20-minute show today, be like, hey guys, I got some video clips. And it turns out we were coming up on an hour because there's so much to talk about with this. And yeah, I am fired up. You should be fired up too. Just because we voted for him doesn't mean that we give him a pass. But I do appreciate Kagan Girl hopping in the chat today, watching the show. Jason Robertson, I think that was your first ever comment on the show. Podcast partner Jason Robertson. He and I are back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern on Freedom from the Press. It's going to stream on Rumble. It'll stream on our YouTube, stream on our X, stream on our Facebook pages. He and I have a good show planned. I think we say that every Friday leading up to it. We're excited about the show. We have such a fun audience, though. So if you're watching this program on YouTube right now, you're on X right now, I am streaming on both of our Rumble channels. I figured it out. I am a boomer at heart, but I figured out how to connect 2 Rumble streams, so big win. But we will be on our main Rumble channel, the American Tribune, tomorrow. If you're watching the program on the American Tribune Live channel, it's a smaller channel, it won't be on there. So you're going to have to search out just the American Tribune, not the American Tribune Live with Todd Peterson. Oh, and Kagan Girl says, you guys can continue this tomorrow as well. I'm sure we can talk about Epstein. I probably will play the CNN clip tomorrow on our show, just because it's like, do I have to explain this? This is not hard. Folks, none of this is hard. Release the files. Trump's lying to us. That's the bottom line here. With that being said, I am getting out of here. Thanks for tuning in today. Kagan Girl, thanks for joining the chat. Jason, thanks for chatting as well. We will see you all tomorrow, though, 10 a.m. Eastern, Freedom from the Press podcast with myself and Jason Robertson. Looking forward to having you there. Otherwise, have a great rest of your Thursday.
Starting on day one, we'll implement a rapid series of bold reforms to restore our nation to full prosperity. We're going to go full prosperity and to build the greatest economy the world has ever seen, just as we had just a short time ago. We will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America